Hey guys, welcome to week 4. We're going to cover 3 new exercises today, 2 more for our spine and 1 for our hip joint. The first one we're going to do is seated hip twist. So I'm just going to ask you to grab some form of a riser and sit up on it. So you could use a cushion, like something firm from your couch or even a big book. And just let your legs go out straight. The reason I want you on a riser is many of us have tight hamstrings or tight hip flexors, and if we're not seated up straight, instead of being in what we call our neutral spine, which you guys remember, we kind of tend to go into a little bit of a tuck because the muscles are kind of pulling us in the opposite direction. So what we want to do is be able to sit up on something that has our pelvis in this neutral, and your knees can be bent a little bit or they could be straight out in front of you. We're just going to reach our arms out to the side and think about rotating our rib cage on our spine. So let's take a breath, and as we exhale, we're going to rotate. Think of 1, 2, 3, and then inhale back to center. And exhale, rotate to the other side. 1, 2, 3, and inhale back to center. We're going to do this 5 times in each direction. And I'm going to have you keep going, and I'm going to cue you. Think of your sit bones staying nice and stable. Think of not gripping in the front of your hips, and you're rotating from your rib cage, not your low back and not your neck. Your head is going along with your spine, and your arms are just reaching out. Now, if you feel like doing this, you kind of go a little bit into your neck, go ahead and just cross your arms and just rotate here. Still focusing on just moving from the ribs. Let's do that one more time to each side. Exhale, 1, 2, 3. Inhale as we come back to center, and exhale, 1, 2, 3, and inhale back to center. All right, the next one we're going to do is called a mermaid, and I'm going to ask you to stay on your riser and just cross your legs. Ideally, your knees are kind of lined up with your hips, so if we've got tight hips and we sit on the floor, we tend to bring our knees up kind of high, we tuck our pelvis. So once again, by putting ourselves up just a little bit, it gives us a little bit more room. The first thing we want to think about is moving our arms separately from the rest of our body. So if I'm going to start with my right arm, I'm going to float my arm up, but I'm not going to take my arm up and take my whole shoulder with it. So I want to teach myself to move my arm, and then as I exhale, I'm just going to side bend my ribs. Inhale as I stack my spine. Let's do that 5 times to each side. Now here's a couple of cues for you here. Think of yourself as being in like a toaster. You don't want to roll forward. Don't let yourself collapse forward or roll back. You want to think that you're staying nice and tall. And again, you're moving from your rib cage, keeping your low back space nice and long. Exhale. And then inhale. Just picture your spine growing taller as you come back up. Let's do that one more time. Exhale. Inhale, come nice and tall. Rest your right arm down. Float your left arm up, and exhale, side bend to the right, and then inhale, come nice and tall. Exhale, reach. Inhale as you grow nice and tall, keeping your shoulders away from your ears. Here's 3, and back up. You need 2 more. Exhale, inhale as you stack your spine. Your head is just going with the rest of your body. And come nice and tall and rest your arm down. Let's take the riser away, and now let's go ahead and lay down on the mat and do something called leg circles. So in week 1, I taught you hip release, and I hope you're still doing that. This is a little bit more advanced version of the same type of movement. You're going to lie down on your mat, and you're going to determine how big your circle is going to be by how stable you can keep the rest of your body. So my rib cage is nice and relaxed into the mat. I have a small low back space because I'm in my neutral spine. And I'm going to put my hands on top of my pelvis, and I'm going to kick my right leg out. My left leg is going to be engaged. My inner thighs working to hold me nice and stable. The reason I want your hands on your pelvis is you're going to bring your legs up just to an angle where you don't tuck your pelvis back, or you don't tilt or wobble your hips. You got to keep everything nice and stable. And then we're going to make a circle 5 times. Let's start by going up the center of our body and then out to the side and then pulling that leg back up the center. And what I want you to focus on is stirring the head of your femur, the head of the thigh bone, in your hip joint. So we're just going to rotate it out and bring it back in. We're going to do 2 more in this direction, and we're thinking, how big can I make my circle without losing my pelvic stability? And let's reverse that. Let's go down through the center, take it out and up, and pull it back up. Here's 2. Exhale up. Inhale 3. Exhale up. Nothing else is moving. 4. And 1 more. 5. And then let's change legs. Now, if this is too challenging and you feel like your pelvis cannot stabilize, you're going to go back to your hip release. You're not ready for this yet. If you can do this, see if you can really feel how your core is working to hold you still as your femur is circling out and around. And then let's reverse that one. Let's take it out and bring it back up. 1. Exhale. 2. 3. 4. And 5. And then bend your knee and bring it down. Okay, there's your 3 exercises for this week. Give those a try. Add them on. By now, your workout should probably be taking you about 10 to 15, maybe even 20 minutes. Let me know how you're doing. I'll see you next week.